Hello there, this is John. Today we're going to put some folded propellers on this Bugs B2c. The regular stock ones are rigid and these guys are folded, and what I'm thinking is it'd be a lot more convenient for packing away and traveling and stuff like that. So we'll give this a try, and they're dead cheap as well, they're inexpensive. These propellers, like the propellers that are on the drone, there's two sets. One's left-handed, one's right-handed, or clockwise and counterclockwise. Okay, so if we're going to replace this guy here, we have to replace it with the same propeller. This little knurled nut here, when this turns in a clockwise direction, this tightens against it, so it's like a self-tightening nut. So to loosen it, you would turn it actually in a clockwise direction like that. There you go. Comes off simply. So this one here just pops down, and it's kind of slotted. There's a bit of a slot on the actual motor axle. There's a slot. Got went in there. Great. It's going to turn clockwise, so this would tighten anti-clockwise. There you go, put it on nice and snug, and these can just fold in like that. The way these propellers work is, if that one turns clockwise when it's running, this one next to it will turn anti-clockwise, and then the back one will turn clockwise and the far end one will turn anti-clockwise. That's how these drones seem to work. So again, just the same thing. You can see that this actually turns that way. This is anti-clockwise. So that nut would turn anti-clockwise to loosen. Put the rest of them on and take it out for a fly. Okay, she's running. Let's see how that works. Oh yeah, seems like it's flying alright. Not too bad, eh? Not too bad. Now I'm going to send it up high, I think. See, she'll go up high. Let's see. There we go. We got plenty of battery left, so there she goes. I'm facing away from the sun. There. And now it's saying that we're getting low on battery. It's because it's carrying a gimbal. So what I'll do is I'll press the return to earth button. Here she comes. Oh. Well, that doesn't look too good. But the great thing is, with this, is that, turn off the gimbal. But the great thing is, these legs act as like shock absorbers to stop getting any major damage on the body. So I've never had any arms break off because I put these legs on. So that's pretty good. But what I have noticed, real quick, is here, these motors feel quite warm. That one's hot. That one's quite hot too. So there we go. We'll put it back together, charge the battery up, and see what we've got for film. Oh, one of the The struts came off of the LED, the cover. This one got broke a long time ago. I keep gluing it together, but that's okay. We'll fix it up. Okay, so we just saw how the gimbal dragged this down to earth a few minutes ago, and now I'm looking back onto the amount of power that's left in the battery, and there's still over half the amount of power. So that suggests to me that these propellers, though they do work, they don't seem to be able to carry the weight. They don't seem to do as good a job as the rigid propellers, and I'm going to try this out, see this. Okay, that motor was just out of kilter and it just clicked back into place. So see if that solved the problem. Oh yeah. There you go. I'm trying to drive this with one hand. Not used to that. But it's flying great, man. You know, without the weight of a gimbal, this thing is just doing well, you know. It just seems quite happy. So you can go forward a bit there. There you go. Yep, it's in the GPS lock, that's for sure. So those propellers work, but I would recommend rigid propellers with a gimbal, because I've never had the gimbal and that camera fall out of the sky like that. I've had a heavy camera do that, but not the blue camera, which is somewhat lightweight. Okay, great. So, are you going to land now? Please do. There you go. No problem. This Bugs has taken a lot of hits and it's really strong and resilient. And I will fix this cover. But everything else, boy, it just keeps on going. Probably the best value drone out there for the price. And the price of this one was $92 plus the propellers, which were like what, $4 maybe for 4 of them. Cheap enough. That's $98 for a great machine. Anyhow, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. So it turns out that while these propellers look really cool in the fold up, they do not carry the same amount of weight as these rigid propellers. And I know that is because when I use these propellers on the drone with the camera and the gimbal, this thing came down and crashed after a short while, because these propellers, that maybe they just started to bend it up or something, they couldn't keep the air in place and it just came down. Whereas this one, you put the same camera and gimbal on, and this one will come down nice and slow and controlled. So I would say that these propellers are great if you're just going to fly the drone as the drone without anything attached to it. Works fine. But what I did notice also, that when I did put the gimbal on here with these propellers, the motors got really hot. And then when I used these propellers to put the gimbal on with the camera, the motors got warm, but they did not get hot like these. So that means that these motors are working much harder to keep in space with these black propellers on.